Suddenly, your world changes. You're in a place you never imagined. You don't feel like yourself anymore. You feel alone, but you're not. Other people with spinal cord injuries know exactly what you're going through because they've been there themselves. They're the voices of experience, and they can help you get through this. Once a spinal cord injury happens, you realize it affects the entire family, not just you.
They were scared about my reaction. They were worried how I was going to take it because I've always been more independent, and so they were afraid that with all this that you know, it might be a blow to my pride, I guess. So they've been my rock. You know, they're pretty good.
My dad's response through those early days was just anger. He was just angry. My mom was, I think at first she tried to avoid. Like I felt bad. I felt like she didn't want to look at me or come around a whole lot. She didn't stay in my room a lot at first. She got better, and my sister became very protective. Ultimately, everybody became very protective and wanted to, you know. And it's funny because even when I got home it's like, oh, don't reach to do anything. No, you know, it's like everybody's thinking that I'm like this China doll. And I still have to tell them now, I'm not a China doll.
My mom kicked into, I've got to take care of her. None of us had ever been in the hospital before. So no serious injuries, but she, you know, went into almost like this automatic, you know, I've got to take charge, I've got to do this, which is not her normal role. My dad, on the other hand, just kind of shut down, and he wouldn't really talk to anybody for a long time.
I didn't want to be a 22-year-old or a 23-year-old married woman needing her mom so much. I can remember being in the hospital, and you know, I was barely afraid to breathe until I would see her. I was just so unbelievably needy. And it was hard, I think, on both of us. I needed to break free. I needed to start developing my own routine and being independent without her.
You know, she's a Latino mother. Oh, my son, I saw you walking, I carry you in my arms. You have to be okay again or normal. Like, Mom, I do all kinds of stuff, don't you see? So I'm still dealing with my mom a little bit.
The relationship, I think, with my parents changed in that, in their eyes, I suddenly became a dependent son again. You know, even though I was married, I had my own family, my own house. I had left their nest, if you will, many years ago. They seemed to think, and to some degree they were right, that I needed them more. You know, and they became more involved in our family's life, maybe more than we wanted them to be.
We get the question a lot, how do you guys deal with being around each other 24/7? And sometimes it is hard, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it is, but my wife is my best friend. I mean, she's my best friend, and I don't even know how else to describe it.
I hear stories all the time of how guys have injuries or people have injuries like me, and all of a sudden they're in divorce court. That happens quite often. Thankfully, I don't have that wife, that partner. She was in it for the long haul. You know, little did she know what to expect. But it's come full circle. It doesn't feel much different. I use that often. It doesn't feel much different than it did before the accident. You know, maybe even better because I'm home more, so we have to communicate more. So I think it's really good right now.
It's been a roller coaster ride. We got some highs and we got some lows, and you just try and weather the storm. And you know, if you can stay together, that's great. And I've had a wonderful partner, and She's done so much for me. I could never thank her enough for it.
In any marriage, you have to schedule time for each other, but when all you have is words between you, or for the biggest part is words, you really have to make sure that those words are important and that you're saying the appropriate things and making time for that.
I felt very close and in love with him before, but this injury, even though it's a tragic and hard thing, has brought us together in a way that nothing else really can, because of how much you have to be there for each other, and just how much it changes your world, and that you have to see each other through it and guide each other through it. It's just brought it to a whole other level, which is really, it's actually really nice.
My daughter, who was I think 4 years old at the time, and she, no fear or anything, she just crawled right up and got right in bed next to me, and it just made me cry. The oldest, he was 8, and it hit him the hardest because we played basketball together. We'd gone camping, fishing, things like that. And he thought that, you know, Dad, with your broken legs, how are we gonna do all that, was his first thing. And I said, I'll still be able to shoot some baskets with you and all that, so, and throw football. So we kind of got that agreement, but I think he was just concerned a lot. He was really scared about me and what was gonna happen.
My youngest daughter was 14 at the time, and I think she didn't know what hit her. She was pretty devastated. She and I were very close, and I think she felt that she had lost a mother. And as a 14-year-old, you know, a young teenager, what's she thinking about? Me, me, me. And right? And she said things like, Mom, who's going to go to parent-teacher conferences? You can't. You know, and Mom, who's going to who's going to help me with my homework? And who's going to go out to lunch with my girlfriend's mothers? And I had to answer, I mean, and who's going to take me shopping for clothes? So I had to answer each of those questions to what I hoped would be her satisfaction, but to reassure her that I was still her mother.
The daughter that used to not be so protective will stand up and fight somebody for a parking place. So it has changed, and in good ways, and it certainly helped raise their level of awareness for people with special needs.
Everywhere I go, my son literally picks me up. You know, like I can transfer from my wheelchair into the car, into when I go get my hair done, things like that. But my son goes with me, and he literally picks me up and puts me back in my chair everywhere we go.
It was important for me to let my parents know that, hey, this isn't gonna beat me. I realized real quickly that I kind of set the tone for them. If I showed that, you know, this was okay, I can deal with this, and I'm gonna, you know, still live life and move on and smile and be the same guy just sitting down, that helped them accept it.
I've always been pretty much a mama's boy, but after I got injured, with her being my primary caregiver, our relationship has just evolved to something amazing. So for her and I, we're almost sort of like best friends to a certain extent. It's like, I still respect her as my mother, but like we talk and we chat, and it's great. So I think that my family relationships or familiar relationships have just like super grown because I know that I need them a lot more now. So I appreciate them a lot more now.
My husband, before he asked me to marry him, his dad sat him down and said, I love Jamie, but do you understand what you're getting into? Do you understand that this is different than a normal marriage? And I so appreciated him doing that, because it made my husband go, okay, yes, I do. And he does understand, you know, when he said I do, he wasn't just being a husband and a father. He became a nurse. He became a counselor. You know, he took on a lot of roles, and he's done them very well.
boy, ever since paralysis, I have a much better relationship with pretty much everybody because I've learned things can be gone in the blink of an eye, and family's always there.
Voices of experience. They know. They've lived it. To watch and download the 10-part series, go to facingdisability.com/Voices of Experience videos.